What's going on, everybody? All right, so I've had a couple customers and a couple people online ask me and kind of bring up like, hey, what are you doing with the recession as it goes now? And, you know, the things about like that, you know, business wise, oh, how's business, blah, blah, blah. I hear a bunch of people are, you know, struggling about all that kind of stuff. So I want to kind of go through. I do have a couple tips. I think about 20, actually, maybe 20, maybe over 20, we'll see here. But there's a couple things I have some recommendations, some things I follow, some things I had a really bad year of 2021, so I lost a lot of money that year and struggled. So I implemented some of these tips and obviously got to me a little better as far as what, business-wise, business plans, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna give you guys, 20 tips, give or take, what to do with a recession, with things you can do, plan for, during, and then obviously after, and the best tips that I have. So, and one thing, you can kind of see behind me here, dump trailer and then dirt bike. So obviously one's an income producing asset and the other one is just basically a fun asset. So both are assets, but one makes money. The other one, not so much. So let's get into it.
Mommy, Daddy.
Yeah?
You gotta keep your feet up there.
Okay. All right, so number one, let's just go ahead and put it out there. Should be pretty obvious to you, but you should raise your prices. I did just recently, especially for decks, and raise your prices today. Have you looked at your numbers? Like they're Biden, 3, 2, 1. All right, so first one you should do, number one, raise your prices. That should be a no-brainer, unless you've already raised them about like 6 times in the last couple months. But I would say raise your prices. Well, inflation's a real thing. Have you seen? I mean, I have a video coming out. Like there's tools and there's materials and stuff that cost like 30 or 40% less like last year and the year before than they do now. So, and that's probably the supply and demand issue, but you need to raise your prices. Any business needs profit, needs net profit, needs gross profit, it needs sales, you need to market, all that kind of stuff. We'll get into that. Number one is always going to be raise your prices because profit is good, cash is king, and there's no such thing as too much money. And if you think money doesn't buy happiness, it's because you don't have enough money. Number two. All right. So number two, know your numbers. And that means know your everything. And I'll go into this. I don't know my numbers. Well, I do kind of, like a little more. I think I'm above average. I'll say I'm above average than like the regular contractor out there. But I straight up went and hired a full-time bookkeeper. So, and that's at about $700 a month. And that's because I'm spending money, so I know my numbers 150%. I know everything, job costing every job. That way I know how much money I'm making. And we're going to get into it because it's about subcontractors, doing audits on subcontractors, if they're costing me money, if they're making me money, all that kind of stuff. But you need to know your numbers. You don't know what you've made unless you know your numbers, because just because you sold a job for, say, $10,000 and you didn't keep track of what everything cost, I mean, you don't really know how much money you made for that job. So track your numbers, know your cost for everything. Just know your numbers, know your overhead. I mean, it's imperative for just business in general. But I mean, since it's a recession, right? So know your numbers. Number three is market. You need to market like there's no tomorrow. That means basically every day, if you're not on the hammer, depending on what you're doing, if you're not on the hammer working, you need to spend any of your spare time. I would say any, but a lot of your spare time, get off Netflix and make that social media post, put something on Facebook, put something on Google, update your, do something, invest your time into, I got home today, I had like an extra 45 minutes. I was like, hey, what am I going to do? I could have just scrolled on Facebook or played, chess on my phone or whatever. But I went and I actually put another blog, I started another blog post on my website, kind of invest that time into that, just something extra I can put into the business because, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste. It's fun playing chess. It's fun, playing video games. Like I've got a nice brand new Xbox in my basement right now. I've not played it 1 minute, not 1 minute, because I'm too busy. So do I want to go kill zombies? Absolutely. But there's more precedent things. There's more important things in my life than playing video games right now. But if I got an extra 15 minutes, I can't do it all the time. That being said, your mental health, if that's what you need, just to release, just to forget about stuff, so be it. But if it's the middle of the day and you find yourself having extra time, you need to invest that time into your business. So market, social media, yard signs, brand your vehicles, put that money, put that time into your business because it's going to pay for itself. Number 4 is build your brand. Always be building your brand. And that goes with not acting like a jackass when you're out and about with, your lettering on your truck or anything like that, because people pay attention to it. You got to make sure that you're always basically, not driving like a, like not cutting people off, not, any well-behaved. Damn it. All right. 3, 2, 1. Number 4 is always be building your brand, whether that's your reputation, you need to protect your brand, always respond to phone calls. I always if you can't respond to a phone call real quick, somebody else is going to help that customer. I know there's a saying for that, but I always return phone calls and text messages as soon as I get them, as fast as I can, within reason, if I'm, efficiently, and then always get those estimates out as soon as you can. I thought about just doing Friday estimates and stuff, but nowadays people don't want to wait. And I want to get my numbers and I want to keep my business brand and my business name in front of customers as much as possible. So always be building your brand. And that also goes for protecting your reputation. Make sure you're not hot dogging it out there with the truck and trailer, not cutting people off, stuff like that with your lettering and everything on your vehicles. You want to be mindful of that kind of stuff, how you proceed and how third parties perceive you. And always, protect your brand as far as paying people on time and your reputation as well. It absolutely goes hand in hand. So number 4 is definitely protect your brand and build your brand. 3, 2, 1. Number 4 is definitely building your brand. Number 5 is reducing your overhead costs. So this goes for a lot. Now, I don't follow this to the T. There's some things where you need to adjust your overhead and make decisions based off your business. Everybody's business is different. I run my business out of my office, my basement. So this is my garage here. I don't have an office. I don't have like a shop, if you will, on like another location. Could I? Yes, absolutely. That's more overhead. That's more things for the business to pay for. So I'd rather invest that either into my pocketbook or into like tools and equipment that I can keep getting jobs done more efficiently and making more money. So I would say reduce your overhead. And now overhead is not just big things like that. Overhead, which I'm looking into as well, is the small stuff like, subscriptions that you don't use anymore, those apps that you're paying like $5 a month for you don't use. There's a bunch of small low-hanging fruit that you can, if you just do a little self-audit with that and you can see what you're paying for, just look at your bank account, what's coming out, what is that? I'm doing that. I think I canceled 2 apps already. There's probably like 6 or 7 more that I can probably get rid of as well. But just do like a small self-audit and then look at your overhead, what you can cut back on, what you might want to increase. There's some things like, hey, you might want to, if you're using some sort of equipment, it's a monthly payment and they're offering you 0%, that might make sense in your business to do that and take up that overhead cost because it's 0, and you're using that equipment. That might make sense for you. Other people may not. So don't get into anything over your head. Make sure you basically trim the fat on your overhead and try to keep it as low as possible and do a self-audit. And as far as all your expenses, can you get cheaper insurance? Can you refinance whatever it is, blah, blah, blah? Can you sell, other things to make the money back, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd say trim your overhead if you can. And I definitely have a video coming out on the Patreon page about my overhead and how I'm trying to adjust it and keep it as low as I can while still buying equipment, new tool trailer, stuff like that. But I don't have an office. I don't have a second site shop where I need to pay for, a lease or another second mortgage, So, yeah, overhead is definitely a killer. Excess of overhead is a killer for businesses, but overhead is just the nature of the beast for any business because you're always going to have overhead. I'm overhead for my business. So can't just trim all the overhead because then we wouldn't have a business. So keep that in mind. Number 5, overhead and ways to trim it down and to at least control it and keep it manageable. Number 6 is review your contracts, your change orders, your subcontractor agreements. Review your pricing for your jobs, for your subcontractors, because that can save you money. Absolutely, or at least, I mean, definitely save your butt as far as contracts are considered. So just real quick, if you guys don't have a contract, you need to go talk to a lawyer, get one. I do sell them. I'll link in my description. You guys can email me. I do sell my contract. It's a template. You're still going to need to get reviewed by whatever state you are, just to make sure it's completely legal and everything. But I know in Michigan it is, because I didn't build it. I had a lawyer do it. So you need to cover your butt, CYA, and make sure everything's in line. So if, every job, this goes by every job, like if, one of your subcontractors has changed his pricing all of a sudden, you need to hold him accountable. And then obviously having a subcontractor agreement with him, you can enforce it as far as being, hey, we agree to this amount, and then you wanted to add a certain amount of money. Sorry, can't do it. Or you can go ahead and pay, whatever you want to do, but it can save you money. Also, you can either vendor lists and stuff like that. You can look and see what's actually getting, job costed to a job, what something costs. You can get, buy in bulk, save yourself some money. But when it comes to the contracts, make sure you look through it. Make sure you're covering your butt, add stuff, take stuff out if you need to, mostly adding things to contracts, because there's always something that somebody didn't think about and you don't really have a good clarification in your contract. It's happened to me a bunch of times. But having, going through your subcontractor agreement, your contract yourself, and any other kind of agreements you have, lien waivers, stuff like that, and make sure everything's legit, because at the end of the day, you need to hold other people accountable that you're relying on, as well as they would hold you accountable. It's, customers, make customers follow the contract, because you know damn well that they would make you follow the contract. So that's number 6. Look at your contract, look at your subcontractor agreements, even your estimates, your templates. Make sure everything's clear and concise and professional. Number 7, kind of goes without saying, but you should be doing this anyway, but give great customer experience. Work, what's the saying? Work begets more work. Work makes more work. Customers see you working on their neighbor's house. They're going to come over to you. They're going to do, they're going to ask for your business card, whatever it is. Absolutely. When you're doing work, it's going to get you more of the same work. It happens to me all the time. I post a picture of, like, say, a deck we just did on a job, and then I'll get probably 15 to 20 messages, from Facebook or emails, whatever. Hey, how much to do a deck? Hey, a lot of them, they're not all of them are going to be your customer, but doing great customer service, getting those Google reviews, putting those, doing good stuff for customers, you can never go wrong for it. I didn't say doing free stuff for customers. I just said doing good work for customers. It's the way to do business. It never pays to try to, to mess anyone over. Everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Just own it, fix it, just move on with it. And a lot of times I've gotten work because I made a mistake. I handled it correctly, and the customer saw that and they gave me more work. So great customer service. Again, you can reach out to your past customers, look at your email list, ask them if you can do a warranty call if it's within a warranty. Fixing that small things, here or there. Just like, customers might not always, point out all the nitpicky things that bother them. They'd be like, it's good enough. Just get out of my house. Great. I appreciate it. I'll give you a good review. But, there's that little thing that they might bug them a little bit. But if you call back and you circle back with them, they might, hey, Richard, yeah, there's one thing over here. If you can, no problem. I'll come over, fix it. It might take you 5 minutes. It might take you $1,000 worth of work to do. But if you take care of it, because it's your warranty, it's your work, it's your craftsmanship, it goes a long way. And absolutely doing great customer service is number 7, because it's just gonna help you out. It makes everything less stressful. You get good reviews, you get good reputation, and it obviously just works really well on your behalf. All right, number 8 is basically reviewing your business systems, reviewing your processes, reviewing yourself, doing a self-audit, just reviewing everything that you're doing. And I did it myself. The reason why I hired a bookkeeper, look at your books, look at what you're doing, what you're spending your time on. Non-billable time really kills small businesses like mine. I want to be out there making money. I want to be able to selling jobs, all that kind of stuff. So reviewing your process for things, and that's why I hired a bookkeeper. That's why I have 2 separate estimate software, because I want to be able to see when my clients and my customers look at my estimates, so that way I know when I can follow up with them. That's why I have something besides. I have Joist instead of QuickBooks. QuickBooks, I cannot do that. As far as I know, for the time of this video, you can't do that with QuickBooks, as far as seeing when your clients look at your invoice, look at your estimate to see if you can follow up with them, see if they actually, read receipts. With Joist, I can. I know Market, I can do as well. And I think Jobber, all that kind of stuff, they can, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing the boat. Maybe let me know in the comment section below. But I use Joyce for estimates. That way I can see when they look at it, every time they look at it, because some customers look at your estimate like 5, 10, 15, 20 times before they call you back, you know. So usually if they're looking at it like 15 times, you know, you pretty much got the job, because they're definitely like looking, you know, they're thinking about it. But and most of the time when a customer opens, you see it, they open it once and you follow up with a via text and they say, I got it, thanks. That's it. You know, they weren't really buyers in the first place. But that being said, review your processes, you know, do a self-audit, see when you can save time. I was trying to find extra time in the day so I can go work out. I enjoy it, but I make excuses not to do it because there's always something to do in the business. But now I'm just basically, hey, I'll make time for it. It's something I can just, you know, put on some headphones, get my fat ass on the treadmill, you know, do something, lift some weights, and just kind of forget about it. And then, you know, get on for the rest of the day, or if that's at the end of the day, you know, get home, play with the kid, and enjoy some family life and all that kind of stuff. So self-audit on your business, your practices, what you do, like, because you can find time. Like, you can find, if it's important to you, you can find the extra time to do whatever that is, and that's important for you. That's why I'm finding time right now to make this video. All that stuff is same thing. So I'm making this right now a priority. Same thing for you. If you have something else that's a priority, you're gonna probably make time for it, right? So yeah. All right, number 9 is be positive in your daily operation towards everybody. So, and I even have a customer, I'm really good at that. Customers sometimes call me the cheerleader, because I'm like, hey, this looks great. Hey, this is awesome. You guys are doing a good job, blah, 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 all this. And they're like, well, you're always in here, like, just, you know, rah, rah. And like, what do you want to tell them? Like, they're doing a shitty job, or, you know, like 3, 2, 1. What do you want me to tell them? They're doing a crappy job, or, you know, from, you know, this is, you know, 1/32 off, whatever, you know. No, you know, it's, if the customer is happy with the project, then I'm happy, as long as I see everything going as according to what we already agreed upon in the subcontractor agreement and with my customer, obviously. So I'm not gonna, you know, if things suck, I'm not gonna tell my customer, you know, it sucks, or, you know, I'm not gonna portray that onto anybody else, because I mean, from my point of view, everything can get worse. Everything can get worse. Right now, I don't even have a head. It's like 45 degrees outside here in Michigan. It could be worse. It could be 20. It could be 15 degrees. We could have like 3 foot of snow out there. So things can get worse. Job sites can get worse. Hey, you know, everything went over to here. Everything's going as planned. We're good to go. Could be worse, but it definitely, I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. And I don't see a reason why to be negative Nancy and, you know, just be, I don't know, stoic and not tell people that they did a good job when they do a good job. And obviously that kind of trickles downhill towards customers. They see you're nice to whoever you're working with, and you just your daily operations, and, you know, it kind of goes with them too. And that goes with, you know, if there's a problem, you go and address it right away, no matter what it is. Customer, you know, hey, Richard, I got this, blah, blah, blah. Hey, let's go, you know, time out. Let's go over here, take a look at it. You know, if this is something we did, great, no problem. Something you're adding, change order, and we can go that route as well. So, you know, make sure you nip all the problems in the butt as soon as you can. But you know, just have a good attitude. You're doing this. I'm self-employed. I made my hobby my business, my profession. So, I mean, what's not to love, right? So, number 8, have a positive mindset. And number 10, we have, maybe you should branch out your services. If you're one of those guys that only does bathrooms, you're the guy that only does, say, closets, or you only have a couple services, it might be time for you, might be time for me, not really, but might be time for me to branch out my services and maybe do something else, you know, add another service to your repertoire, and maybe advertise that service and post up stuff that you already know how to do, and you've had, you know, services like that in the past, and just promote that. That's something else you can do, because you're going to get all that other pool of customers that want that service are going to be looking at you as well. So another good way to kind of beat a recession is to expand your scope of work as far as what you do, and that way you can just you can collect from a bigger pool of people that might want that work. And it's, you know, another selling feature for yourself. You can always upsell on customers, like, hey, if you're doing this, hey, we also do this. You know, when we give you a quote, or hey, we can do this real quick, here's the price to do that, yay or nay. That's absolutely one thing you should definitely be doing. Now that can go, I've done it where I've had a bunch of stuff. You don't want to do everything. So I'm not looking to do everything. I need to actually scale back a little bit. Maybe just not even worry about certain things. Like tree trimming. Like I did one for a customer recently, cut down the top of a tree. I mean, yeah, I made money. I mean, was it really worth it for me? I mean, yeah, but I just don't want to do that kind of work anymore. And I can just tell customers, hey, no, I don't need to be, Johnny on the spot with everything. And I can basically tell customers, no, sorry, I have a tree guy or, whatever. So I personally would want to scale back a little bit, but you might not be. You might want to scale up as far as your services, what you offer, and expand a little bit as far as your customer pool where you can collect from, just so you can get that extra revenue in your business. So that's number 10. And with that, you guys, I appreciate on page out for the rest of these. I think we got another 9 or 10 of these babies to go. Go up there. I'll link it in the description as well. You guys have a great day. I appreciate all the support.